UFC 298 just took place. Let's recap the entire main card because, oh my lord, what an incredible card. Let's start off with the main event. Alexander Volkanovski versus Ilia Topuria for the featherweight title. Oh my god. Oh my god. I said after the Bryce Mitchell fight that Ilia Topuria would beat Alexander Volkanovski. And the day before the fight, I switched my prediction to Volk. No excuses. I picked Volkanovski, but this dude, I'm not even lying, I think he's the second best fighter on the planet. The second best fighter on the planet. I don't even care what anybody says. Right behind Islam Makhachev. This dude is actually insane, and I don't think anybody even comes close in terms of boxing in the UFC. Nobody comes close. The power this dude has in his right hand is insane. It is insane. When he backs up his opponent against the cage, it's over. He's going to knock you out. I'm watching it right here. Oh my gosh. First round, Topuria was landing. He was landing those low kicks. Like I said in my prediction, I want him to use his low kicks more. If he adds that to his game, it's wraps. It is wraps. No featherweight alive beats this man right now. Volkanovski was getting his leg kicks going. He got his jab going. And in that second round, he backed Volk against the cage. Volk was leaving his chin out a little bit when he'd, back up, get out of range. Topuria closed the distance. He had that reach disadvantage. He closed the distance, landed that right hand flush on Volkanovski's chin, and put him out cold. Put him out cold. They want to do a rematch apparently in Spain. Topuria. This dude doesn't lose. There's not a man on the roster that beats him right now at 145 pounds, obviously. I don't even know what to say. Volkanovski, one of my favorite fighters of all time. I think he never becomes champion again. Never becomes champion again. It's unfortunate because I love him, but wow. Who does Topuria fight now after Volkanovski, after the Volkanovski rematch? Is it Max Holloway? Is it Movsar Evloev? Is it Yair Rodriguez? I don't see a single soul beating this man. He's the most well-rounded featherweight on the planet, and I think he's the second best fighter on the planet. And I'm not even lying. The power this dude has is incredible. I'm lost for words. You guys know how it is after fights. You just can't really get words out, and I have nothing written down. I'm freeballing this, and wow, Topuria, man, simply incredible. Didn't even need to use his grappling at all. Back to Volk against the cage and put that man to sleep. The new featherweight champion of the world, Ilia Topuria, the first Spanish champion. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. All right. Let's move on to the co-main event, Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa. This was a great fight. I picked Robert Whittaker to win. He gets the win. And I think on the feet, Paulo Costa could give a guy like Whittaker trouble. I feel like Costa could be a difficult matchup for Whittaker, even though Whittaker is a lot more skilled, absolutely more skilled. Whittaker was just working Paulo Costa in that first round, looked good, and then he ate that wheel kick. That got me scared. Paulo didn't have enough time, to finish Whittaker in that first round, but that was a crazy, crazy head kick. And then in the second and third round, people also think this fight was like controversial somehow. Whittaker absolutely won. Second and third round, Whittaker just got going. And I needed a Whittaker win in my life. I really, really did. Super happy he won. I like Paulo Costa, but he's just not on the level of a Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker was working his jab, working that straight, and he was just landing pretty easily on Paulo Costa. So overall, great performance from Robert Whittaker. Super happy. Besides that wheel kick, near flawless. Of course, he ate a few shots, but that's going to happen with Whittaker. Who does he fight now? I feel like Khamzat Chimaev. That would be an incredible fight. Maybe Jared Cannonier. Maybe you run that fight. I mean, Jared Cannonier, in my opinion, deserves a title shot. Maybe you run that fight. And for Paulo Costa, I don't really know, man. I don't really know. Maybe you give him like Nasruddin Imavov. Does Paulo even take that fight? Do you rebook the Khamzat fight? I don't really think so. So it's interesting to see where he goes from here, right? But overall, good performance for Whittaker. Happy he won. And he's starting to slowly come back after that Dricus Dricus lost. And I feel like Dricus would lose to Whittaker if they would fight again. Whittaker's just so much more skilled, man. But Whittaker's chin isn't all that great, so if Dricus can maybe start landing his jab, start overwhelming Whittaker with his pressure, maybe he could win that fight again. But I wouldn't be all too surprised if that fight happens eventually. Say you know, they do Adesanya and Dricus. Say Adesanya wins. Maybe you do the rematch between Dricus and Whittaker. So I think that's a very interesting fight. Let's move on to Jeff Neal versus Ian Gary. This was also somehow a controversial fight to people. I thought Ian Gary won 30-27, or at the minimum 29-28. Ian Gary did good. His volume was solid. That's how he won the fight, with his volume, the constant kicks. Jeff Neal landed a few good shots, which you know, some people thought was enough for him to steal, you know, the first whatever rounds. But I thought Ian Gary won pretty well. He called out Colby Covington. I want to see that fight. I think that's an incredible fight. I think Ian Gary knocks the old man Colby out. I really do, but that's a massive win for Ian Gary. That's a massive win. 14-0, undefeated. And I forgot to mention, or I don't know if I did mention, Ilia Topuria is an undefeated champion. An undefeated champion. That is incredible. But Ian Gary, big win. He needed that win for him to become a star, and I think he'll slowly get there. I'm a pretty big fan of Ian Gary. I think he's solid. Already one of the best strikers in the UFC. Disappointing performance from Jeff Neal. I didn't like all that of the clinching work he did. I feel like he just needs to break out and maybe find a knockout shot. But he didn't. Ian Gary, who does he fight next? Do you throw him inside the top 5? I think it's got to be Colby Covington. It's got to be Colby. So overall, fantastic performance for Ian Gary. He needed that win to become a star. He would have got clowned on if he lost. So big performance from Ian Gary. Let's move on to Merab Dvalishvili versus Henry Cejudo. Merab simply dominates Henry Cejudo for the most part. Henry had that one nice left hook in the beginning or middle of the first round. So I thought Henry Cejudo had a good first round, right? He looked solid in the grappling exchanges. He landed that really nice left hook. He was looking good. I thought, okay, maybe he could go on to win the fight, but we're talking about Merab Dvalishvili here, and he simply took over in the second and third round, picking him up, slamming him to the ground, and it's sad, man, because Henry, I love Henry too. He's one of my favorite fighters. I love his fight style, but physically, he just wasn't there. And it seems quite clear now that Henry Cejudo will be retiring. Sad, you know, I think it's a stain on his legacy a little bit, losing to Aljo and then Merab. It sucks that he even retired in the first place, but poor performance from Henry Cejudo. Physically, he just wasn't there, as I said. Merab, though, who beats this man? How do you beat him? I don't know. You have to knock him out, obviously, but physically, this dude is not human. I don't think he's human. I think he might be from a different planet. He had so much fun in that octagon, just toying with Henry Cejudo in that second and third round. And yeah, his grappling is not even like, he's not even like so high level in anything. It's just his fight style and his cardio and his physicality is insane. He has by far the best cardio we have ever seen in the UFC. So that was just insane for Merab. He's got to be fighting Sean O'Malley or Marlon Chito Vera next. It's got to be one of those two, and I'm picking Merab. I don't know how you beat Merab. I don't know who would beat Merab. I mean, let's go through the rankings. Does Corey Sandhagen beat him? No, I don't think so. I don't think Chito beats him. I don't think Sean O'Malley beats him. Maybe Umar Nurmagomedov. Maybe. I'm a big fan of Umar. I think he's really good, but I don't think anybody beats Merab right now. So, huge performance from Merab. Title shot next. And then to finish off the main card, or the opener of the main card, we have Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Kopylov. That was a banger of a fight. I was out of my chair when Anthony Hernandez was getting that submission. He was getting mad hype. So that was cool. I think Anthony Hernandez is a dog. I think he's going to do some fun things in that middleweight division alongside Roman Kopylov. He's still young. He'll bounce back, absolutely. I'm just looking at Topuria with the belt. Shit's crazy. But Anthony Hernandez, dog. I think those looping hooks, those left and right hooks, were giving Roman Kopylov some problems. And I liked every time he finished his his combinations, he'd level change. Even though Roman Kopylov has really good takedown defense, he continued to work, he continued to level change, and ultimately he found that submission. He's not insane at anything, just like Merab, but he just works with it. He gets the wins, and it's really nice to see. I'm a big fan of Anthony Hernandez. That grappling exchange for him to get into that submission was real nice. He was celebrating before Roman Kopylov even tapped. So yeah, I wanted to make this quick video, not too long, around like 2 minutes for each fight. I want to go to bed. And actually, Dana White just announced Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira for the UFC 300 main event. So that's crazy. I'm picking Alex Pereira in that fight. Wow. All right. That was just insane. I'm sorry if I'm like stumbling over my words. That's just how it is after these massive pay-per-views. I don't really know how to speak to a camera, but that's okay. Insane card. Finish after finish. Yeah. Incredible card. Subscribe. Ilia Topuria is the new featherweight champion of the world. Wow.